course, this computer. All right, guys, what's up? What's up, man? So, guys, let's talk about losing properly. Let's talk about why people aren't good at trading and what are the three most important things to trade. I talk about a lot. Who's ever heard me speak about the three most important things, or not the three most important, the main three things that you need to know. So number one, guys, if you know in the chat box, go ahead and let me know while I type. But the one thing you need to know is when to enter. That's one. Oh, we're gonna write this the three factors of trading. Number one is when to enter. I always talk about this, every time I train, do live calls. Number two, let me in the chat box if you know. What's the second thing you need to know when it comes to trading? Let me know in the chat box. Let's see. Oh, I need to make it so everyone can see each other too. Cool. Now y'all can see each other. That's cool too, but that's one. What's another thing? Number two is when to exit. And we got to throw this in the correct way. When to exit correctly for TP / stop loss. And number three is, yes, I'm getting no distractions while people trying to talk to me. When to exit, and then prop risk management. Those are the three things you need to know. So out of these three, in order for me personally, these two kind of work together. All three of them work together, obviously. They're all important, right? But I think the main thing that a lot of people focus on is, if you have to ask yourself, as a new trader, out of these three, what do you think the main thing do people focus on? Is it when to enter, when to exit correctly for TP and stop loss, or is it when to or risk management? Just as a new trader, right? Number one, right? Let's just keep it real. Most people are just trying to figure out when to enter the trade. They're not worried about proper risk management. They're not worried about when they're gonna get out the trade. They worried about number one, when to enter the trade. And when to enter the trade is probably the least important thing to learn out of all three, which is kind of crazy, right? It's like that's the least important thing to learn. Is it important? Absolutely. But without these two, it really don't matter. So let's kind of talk about it, guys. How can you be a 70% loser and still be profitable? And so we're going to discuss that. I'm not going to really get into a lot of training on when to enter a trade. We'll do that on a separate training. We have a lot of other lessons. We plan to teach you guys lots of trading skills, how to enter the trade. But I feel like no matter how good of a trader we teach you how to be, if you are not factoring in 2 and 3, number one don't matter. We can teach you how to do number one, but without 2 and 3, it really don't matter. So let's kind of get into all three. Now, this is how a lot of people trade, right? So I'm gonna bring up a chart real quick. And they call themselves the 95% traders. Let me see this one. Let's see this one right here. They call themselves the 95% trading kids. That's what they do, right? So this is the 95% trading kids. And they're a 95% winner for sure. Oops. 95% trading whiz. Okay. So what does the 95% trading whiz do? They have their TP, they might scalp for about 10 pips. but their stop loss might be about, we'll do about like right there. Well, let me bring it out some more so we can see it better. So let me reset the screen. Let's try to move that. Let me do it again real quick. So this is what they aim for. And their stop loss is like down here somewhere. We'll just say that's about 100 pips right here. So when they're winning, it's going like this for them. First, they win. So they go like this. This is the trade. It's going up and down, win. It's going up and down, win. It's going up and down, win. That's it. And then they say this. It's go up and down, win. And then it goes like this, like this. They're holding on to the trade for dear life right here. Praying to God that turns around. And guess what? It goes just like this. And then he's going down some more. Praying to God, dear life, some more. Go down some more. Praying to God, there's some more. Next thing you know, they're all the way down here. That's if they even using the stop loss. Who's ever met someone that does this? Or who's ever done it themselves? So that being said, guys, yes, indeed, they are a 95% trader because they won this trade, this trade, this trade, this trade. They just happen to lose this trade. And so I think we can all agree with that's a kind of a bad thing, right? And so what I want to show you guys how to do is to be a 70% loser in profit versus a 95% trader that loses all their profits or loses their entire account. So let's kind of talk about what you got to do to make that happen. Let me know in the chat box if you want to know how to be a 70% loser versus a 95% winner. Now, let's go to 5 minutes to be a little easier. All right, cool. So the first thing that we need to do, I want to focus on before we get into this part right here, before we get into this, the one thing I want to teach you guys is how to get rid of your anxiety before trading. So no matter what your stop loss is, doesn't matter. You should always lose the same amount of money. So I'll give you an example. $1,000 account. Now, if I have $1,000 account, it will give me anxiety if sometimes I took a trade and I lost $10, then $40, then $30 here, then $50 here, then $100 here. And I don't know every time I take a trade how much you're going to lose because I don't have a trading plan. Or you might have a mentor that told you this. This is what a lot of people teach people. 0.10 per 1,000, which is very silly because here's the thing, guys. If, for example, let's say that we have a $1,000 account and we always want to risk $30. I'm gonna put $30. That's okay, right? That's not gonna give me, that's pretty aggressive, but that's not gonna give me too much anxiety. Every time I lose $30. That means I'm risking what? 3%. So I'm losing 3% every time, right? That's the goal. So if this is what most people do, let's say that you're taking signals or you're taking your own trades or whatever, and you're using this as a guide, 0.10 every time. And let's say that your stop loss is 30 pips. That means that you lost $30, which is fine. You risked 3% of your trade. But let's say that the next time you lose and your stop loss is 50 pips, or let's say 60 pips, now you have lost 6% of your account. And then let's say next time your stop loss is 15, now you have lost like, I believe like what, 5% of the account. I mean, not 5%, 1.5% of the account. So the issue with that is that you have inconsistent losses, which will make you have inconsistent gains also, because you don't know how much you're losing. So the name of the game is to figure out what you want to risk per trade. Like, for example, 1% of 1,000 is $10 if you lose. 2% of 1,000 is $20 if you lose. 3% of 1,000 is $30 if you lose. But if you don't have a consistency of what you want to risk per trade, and you use this model of 0.10 per thousand, you are asking to lose money. So how do we do that, guys? Now, there are different, I'll tell you guys later on how to factor in a percentage and all that stuff. And plus, if you're in my training, you already know how to do that, but we're going to teach you guys how to do it. They got calculators. I actually have a manager that does it for me. But the thing is, you want to risk a certain amount per trade. So if we're going off of 0.10 on the Euro USD. So this is correct. 0.10 on $1,000 with a 30 pip stop loss, and I want to risk 3%. Yes, I will lose $30. But guys, if my stop loss was 60 pips, what would my lot size be instead to still lose $30? Let me know in the chat box if you know, what would you do if you had to risk $30 still, what would your lot size be? We're gonna type in whoever get it first, right? 5. I'm gonna give y'all time limit. 5, 4. Okay, Timothy for the win. 0.05 per pip. Why? Because, and now every pair is different a little bit, but I chose Euro because it's an easy one to count. 0.05 will have made you lose $30 still. Because if you went 60 pips in the wrong direction, that's $30 because you did half of $1 a pip. Now, if you had a 10 pip stop loss, what would your lot size be to still lose just $30? Come on, you got 5 seconds, y'all. 5, 4, not 0.1, not 3.0. You definitely don't do 3.0. That's $30 per pip. You got 1 pip before you go out. Exactly. 0.30. Now, if I go the wrong direction, I lost $30. So your lot size is based off of your stop loss and your balance and what you want to risk per trade. Now, that's why if you get good at stop losses, you get rewarded with high lot sizes. If you don't know really where you want to have it, or it's just not a good trade, you get penalized for that, but you're still going to be risking the same and you're still responsible. I like to risk between 2 to 3% per trade. If I'm trading an account that's 200,000 plus, I'll risk half of a 1% per trade. So, or 1% a trade. So that's factor number 1 that you need to factor in, right? Factor number 2, this is where you get the 70% loser. Let me see if I can get up there. Let me see, reset this. One sec, guys. There we go. Sometimes TradingView is so janky, y'all. Let me try. I'm probably just, reset the whole thing. But y'all, let me go back to that. Stop share real quick. Let me get this fixed. But guys, while I'm doing this, did y'all understand why I said that? Do you understand how to lose 1%, 2%, 3%, and why that's important. Let me know. Let me know. Put one below in the chat box if you understand why that's important. Awesome. I'm glad a couple of people understand. That's good. That's good. If not, you'll get it eventually. So back to discussing how to be a 70% loser. 70% loser. Now, guys, now that we understand one is that we don't risk 100 pips to go for 10 pips. The next thing you got to understand is, what do you go for? Do you go for a one-to-one? So what does that mean for a one-to-one? That means that if I'm risking $10, I'm making $10. Let's say that we're going for 1 to 2. That means that if I'm risking $10, I'm making $20. Let's say that we're going for 1 to 3. That means we're going for 3 times the profits from our risk. That means when I'm risking $10, I should be making $30. Let's say I'm risking $10, risk of 1 to 4. That means I'm risking $10, I'm making $40 because I'm going for 4 times the reward. So that's what's called risk to reward, because I'm risking 10 to go for 40. $10. Let's say I'm doing risk 1 to 5. I'm risking $10 to go for $50. Let me know if that makes sense to risk to reward. Now, before we go into a crazy discussion for it, it's no wrong or right way to do it, but just understand that the higher your risk to reward, the more you can lose. So, for example, we're going to do one-to-one first. Let's say that I have a $1,000 account. And we're going to say I won. We're going to say 70% of the time, right? So if it's 70% of the time and we took 10 trades, I won 10 trades. I lost 7 trades. I won 3 trades. Right? That means we lost 70% of the time, right? The $1,000 account. So off this scenario, if we did 10 trades, we won $30 because we win in $10 every trade, and we losing $10 every trade. So that means that if we took 7 trades, and let's just say that we won, that's $30 that we won minus $70 that we lost because we lost $10 every trade. That means you are negative $40. Let me put down the text. So you're negative $70 off of this scenario. Now, let's do the same scenario for 1 and 2 risk to reward. If you make it a habit, remember, let's be consistent. And I'll talk about when you should change it up and everything. But right now, let's just kind of talk about where you usually are going to aim for, right? For 1 and 2, you won 3. You won 3. So that's 10. You won 3. And every time you win, you won $20. So that's 20 times 3. That's $60 that you won. And you lost 7. So we do minus 70. Because you lost $10 every trade, you are negative $10. Not too bad, right? Much better than this one. Now let's do this scenario. we're going for 3 times the reward. So that means that we're going $1 every pip. That's $30, and we're losing $10. So 30 times 3 is $90. It's $90, and we lost 7 times, which was negative $70. So now we're positive $20. Let's say we go to 1 and 4. We're going $40 every win times 3 minus 70. That's $50. And if we do 50 times 3 minus 70, we're positive $80. So tell me know, where in this diagram is when you become a 70% profitable loser? Let me know. Is it 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5? And that's if you're a 70% loser. I mean, you're losing 70% of the time. 1 to 3, correct. So you, instead of going for 1 to 1, or even worse, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, which is those are the 95% winners, right? The ones that go for, they risk 10 to go for 1. That's, you don't want to be a 95% winner unless you're doing it one of these ways. So let's say that we consistently go for 1 to 3. Let's look at this trade. This is one of these simple strategies I like to trade. I'll teach it to everybody later, but I kind of want to just focus on one subject at a time, right? And so I'm going to enter the trade when I see a retest off this line, right? And then I already have my stop loss, and we're going to take these 2 away because we're not doing 1 to 2. We're not doing 1 to 3. The worst case scenario is I lose $10. So it takes with the anxiety of trading because you already know you're only losing. Well, we're not doing 1%. We'll say $10. Yeah, we're doing 1%. The worst case scenario, I lose 1%, right? $10. So we're gonna play this to go. And I'm gonna tell you when I'm gonna enter the trade. Now, typically I have entered right here. I like to enter I have certain points where I enter, but I say I enter right there, right? And I use certain time frames that they're getting really tight. Like I said, I'll do a whole video on that later. But let's say we enter right here. And we now are waiting for it to hit either stop loss or take profit. Let's say my take profit is 1 to 3. So let's go ahead and play it. All right, cool. We hit our take profit. If you're doing a 1 to 3. Guys, worst case scenario, it hit this. And let's say that it did hit stop loss for $10. If I can see another entry, I'll just get in again and win the trade and try again. Then let's say I lose it again. And let's say I re-enter again and I finally win that trade for 1 to 3. I still in profit off the same trade I tried to do 3 times because I'm going for a 1 to 3. I'm not worried about the loss. I'm worried about the gain. So that's why you want to do a 1 to 3. If you lost 2 times in 1 to 1 off the same, you ever been wrong because your stop loss was tight, but then if you had re-entered, you would have won the trade. If you just know that you're going to lose 1% every trade, and you know that you're going for 1 to 3 at least, guys, you will always still profit. You don't have to always be right at your entries at the first time. As long as you know where to enter, you can be wrong a few times. And they say worst case scenario, you lose 3 times, just stop trying to trade that pair. She goes, look, I lost 3% today. You know what? I'm done trying to trade this. It's not it for me. But, and like I said, you can open your stop loss up. It's just obviously you got to do less lot sizes. But I'm just giving you a scenario off of this, right? So, and let me know in the chat box if any of this is making sense. Let me know in the chat box if any of this is making sense. Let's see, am I recording this? Let me check. Okay, I'm recording. Cool. Guys, that's how you become a 70% loser. And I promise you guys, as a manual trader, if you just practice 1 to 3, you'll be good. Now, sometimes you might not see a 1 to 3. So you have 2 choices to do. You have, if you don't see that you can get a 1 to 3, you have 2 choices. Either you can go for 1 to 1, 1 to 2, or you can just not do that trade and look for a different trade. If you don't think that you already know before you even take the trade, that I already know that if something happens at the price that I see, that where I'm going to go. I already know where I'm going to go. If I see where I want to go is not 1 to 3, I just don't take the trade. I just go look somewhere else. It's like a billion different pairs to look at. Now, sometimes you might want to say, you know what? I want to be a 1 to 5 trader. Oh. Let's say I want to be a 1 to 5 trader. And I'm gonna bring this back up real quick. Long. Let's say you want to be a 1 to 5 trader. Or let's say you see a 1 to 5. And we're not talking about swinging, we're not doing all that stuff. I want to just prove a point real quick. What would I do if I was going for 1 to 5? This is a 2. Okay, cool. That's 2. Well, wait. Cool. About 1, 2. This is what I was doing. I was going for 1 to 5. We're at take profit right here. So instead, let's say that our take profit was up here instead. Let me change the line so we can have an even better understanding of what we're going for. And I'm doing another line. And I'm going to tell myself at 3, at TP, at this level, I'm going to make it blue. And this is all about having a consistent trading plan. At blue, I want to take partial profits. So, and I want to move my stop loss. So what does that mean? We're going to hit play. Let's say that it hits, oh, we already here, right? So what happened is when I hit this point, I did 2 things. I took 50% of my trade. So if I was doing, $1 pip, I'm up $30 at this point, right? I took half of that, and now I profited $15 profit closed. And I'm risk free because what else I'm going to do is going to move my stop loss to break even. Now I'm going to let this. So now the worst case scenario is I already closed up half my trade, is I can let it go here, or you can move your stop loss. That's 2 things. You can either move the break even, or if you want some profit, hold on, let me tell you what else I usually like to do. Actually, this is what I really like to do. Let me show you. Let's go back to that 1-on-1 that people love so much. That's 1-to-1, right? what I would do is I will have a stop. My stop is no longer stop loss. I'll make my stop right here. So worst case scenario, I already closed out at $15, right? Worst case scenario, I'm giving y'all some sauce too, man. I mean, y'all are getting sauce. Is it can go down here, and I also close back out at 10 pips in profit. So I closed out here guaranteed at 15 bucks. Now I'm at 0.05 instead of 0.10, for example. And it came out here and I closed out at 0.05 at 10 pips in profit. So that's about $5. So I made, worst case scenario, if it hits here, I've made $20 total. $5 right here, plus the $15 we close out at, equal 20. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario, I keep riding this thing up till it hits take profit. So let's hit play. Now, if you wanted to, based off your analysis, you can say, look, just in case, you can either hold it here and just wait for it to take profit and take out 5, or you can go lock in at that extra $5 that you was aiming for, which have now put you at instead $30 profit. The original profit we were going to do anyway. So now, worst case scenario, you're going to get, sorry, I hope you said I'm going in and out. Okay, hopefully I'm back. Worst case scenario, you are going to get the same profit you were going to aim for at the 1 to 3. But if you might also make way more money up here. So then you hit play. And basically you hit take profit. Oh, no, you didn't hit take profit. That's what is that? That's 1 to 4. Oh, that was 1 to 3. Oh, no, wait. That's still 1 to 4. We're still waiting. So we're gonna hit play. So that's where the market is right now. We still have our trade open. So it's either gonna go here, or it's gonna come back up here. And if you really see the market going higher, I would just raise my take profit higher and then start locking in profits and riding the wave up. And you can enter multiple trades once you start getting used to that. Let me know in the chat box. Tell one if all that made sense. And now you understand how you can be a 70%, 80%, 90% loser and still profit because you're not worried about losing 1% of your trade. You're worried about the overall win. And that's how a lot of people treat their future. They worried about right now instead of the future. I'm worried about the future. If I have a 1 to 5, I can lose 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll still be all right in profit. I can lose 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then break even if I finally get it. So that's the fun behind it. So just a recap for you guys, just to take all this stuff away, get all this stuff out of the way. Actually, let me just delete this stuff. So you go for 3. You go for 5. And now instead of your the 1 to 3 being a take prop. So that's 2 things you can do. Scenario 1, you can always go for 1 to 3. Scenario number two, you can go from 1 to 5 if you see that opportunity. And so you can, that's how you always want to go for 1 to 3, but sometimes you want to go to 1 to 5, you see the opportunity. So what you would do first is once it gets to this part, you move your stop into 1 to 1. Once it gets to 4, you move your stop into 1 to 2. So when you get to 1 to 2, you are already was going to get the same profit as if it turns around as if you were doing the 1 to 3. Why? Because you took off 50% profit here. It got to TP4, but it spent around and hit your take profit, your stop. And so you still get the same amount of money if you had got it right here. But best case scenario, it goes here or to the moon. Worst case scenario, it goes here and you still profit that 1 to 3. Let me know in the chat box if you understand why risk to reward and risk management are so important and can be the difference between being a good trader and a bad trader. A lot of you guys have took so much time looking at strategies and when they enter the trade that you didn't even think about the strategy behind risk management. So I'm not going to take a lot of your time unless you got some questions. Ask them now. But if not, that's where I wanted to focus on. So one more thing I want to give you guys, and I'll have a whole separate video. I'm going to put it up on my channel. Is there's 2 ways you can figure out there's 2 ways. If you're not a member of FX Social or you just don't want to use the tool, if you download FX Calculator, I'm gonna have a whole video on how to use it and another video. If you use FX Calculator, you can, it's just like, if I don't know a math problem, what do? I bring my phone out and I use the calculator. If I don't know if I got a certain stop loss and I'm trying to lose 1%, 2%, 3%, I'll just bring out an FX calculator. That's okay, cool. My lot size is this because my stop loss is this, is my balance and whatever, right? So I'll have a whole video on how to use that, but that's how that works. Or I have a trade manager for people who are members of my membership. And basically what the trade manager does, any of you trading from your phone, is you set the software up. And no, I haven't talked about that yet. You set the software up and you tell it, hey, at 1% risk or 2% risk or 3% risk or half of 1%, whatever. When I put my stop loss in, look at my balance, look at my stop loss and calculate my lot size. And it does all that stuff automatically for you. So you don't have to do all the calculator stuff. But if you don't want to use that or you're just not a member, you still have FS calculators. You just got to manually do it yourself versus being an automation. But whatever you use, always risk 1%, 2%, or 3% or less than 1% per trade. Now, I was going to talk about the funding, how to get the $2 million account, but I'm going to save that for a Sunday call. So we're going to do a call on Sunday, and it's going to be an education call still, but we're going to talk about how to get funded for $2 million. And so let's just talk about this so you can get kind of excited. If you got 10% on $2 million, if you got good at being a 70% loser, and all you did was go for 10% a month, because it's easy to get 10% being a 70% loser. That's nothing. But, 10% a month don't sound like a lot when you have $100. 10% don't sound like a lot when you have $1,000. 10% don't sound a lot when you got like a $5,000 account. But if you had $2 million and you made 10%, that's $200,000 a month. So if you can learn how to exit correctly, how to use proper risk management, and then entering can be the third best thing you do, then you can do 10%. And if you can do 10% a month, I can show you guys how to get a $2 million account. But we're going to talk about that on Sunday. I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to upload this video to my channel. You know, feel free to tell me what you learned best under the video. You can also subscribe, and I'm gonna send it out on the Discord. So you're going to see the video on the Discord. So hopefully this video helped, guys. And I appreciate you guys' time. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you understand that these two are more important than this. I can be wrong when I enter here. I could be wrong when I enter here. And I could be right here and still profit. So how is this more important than these two if I was wrong twice on the entry? It's not. And when people start learning that, their whole trading experience is going to change. For one, their anxiety that when they're going to blow their account in one trade is going to go away because you're only risking 1%, 2%, or 3%. And their anxiety of losing too many times is going to go away because you can